Things just took a major turn for the Pelicans as they signed free agent Kevon Looney, adding championship experience, toughness, and much-needed front-court depth to their roster. We're going to take a deep dive into the signing that we called first, right here on Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? Once again, I'm back. It's your people, Melz On The MIC. Yes, got my Pierre cap on, baby, because we called it here first, man. I told y'all in a previous video that the Pelicans should go after Kevon Looney, and they did just that. And, you know, we call the shots over here, baby. That's why you need to come follow this podcast. You need to subscribe right now and go hit that subscribe button. Leave your comments. We'll talk about it all, and we go get into more about the conversations that's going on with the Pels right here on Pelicans Digest, man. Once again, thank y'all so much for pushing us over 2,000 subscribers. Let's keep the number going up, baby, and keep the number going up. And, of course, you heard it here first. I'm gonna toot my horn for a minute. I called the shot. I told you it was going to happen, man. I said I thought it was the smart play for the Pelicans to go after Kevon Looney, and that's just what they went and did, man. They signed him to a 2-year deal worth $16 million, according to Shams. Here's the details. Free agent center Kevon Looney has agreed to a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Pelicans. According to his agent, Todd Ramasar, and the Pelicans, they reached a deal tonight for the 3-time NBA champion who departs Golden State after 10 years. And, hey, it is what it is, man. I said what it was going to be, man. I thought it was the smart play to go get Kevon Looney for a bunch of different reasons. And I think a lot of people aren't looking at something that the Pelicans have been lacking for a lot of years, and that's rebounding. I need y'all to pay attention, man, because rebounding is something that the Pelicans have not been good at for years. And I want you to see this stat right here about Kevon Looney. He's bringing you 6 rebounds a game. 6 rebounds a game. Okay? So this is what the Pelicans need just terribly, because the Pelicans were one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA last season. Let me say that again. They were one of the worst. They were in the bottom 10 in the league in rebounding. Okay? So you need rebounding. The Pelicans have been lacking that for years. I think everybody's more caught up on points and shot blocking and stuff like that. But second chance opportunities was something that really screwed the Pelicans last year and even years before that. I was at a game last year, okay? I'm going to go into story time with your Uncle Mel's real quick, all right? I was at the game last year at the Smoothie King Center. It was the Pelicans versus the Raptors. Both teams had only won like 3-4 games at the time, all right? So it was trash on trash. And I sat there and watched this game, and we had Eve Missy in the game. And I remember sitting there watching this game, and you had to have a front court of Eve Missy, Daniel Tice, and JRE. And you know who was the leading rebounder that night out of them 3? It wasn't Eve Missy, and it wasn't Daniel Tice. It was JRE. So, and the Pelicans lost, of course. They lost that game. Both teams had like 4-15 records at the time, and yet the Pelicans still lost. And I literally sat there and watched Daniel Tice fumble through easy rebounds all game long, which drove me insane. So I'm just sitting here telling y'all that a hidden aspect of the Pelicans game that we needed to get focused on was rebounds. And you're bringing in a guy who's not only an NBA champion, but has also given you almost 10 rebounds a game. And that's something that the Pelicans sorely needed, in my opinion. So look, here's your starting lineup for opening night, in my opinion, because Murray ain't gonna be there. But I think we need to take a look at the starting 5. And at first, I was going to say we need to go ahead and start Looney because of this little factoid right here. Before I move on, I wanted to start with this little factoid here. Looney ranked in the top 10 in offensive rebounding percentage among players to play 40 or more games last season. So durability as well. So again, this was a great signing by the Pelicans. I think this shores up your center position a little bit deeper, and I think you go into opening night with this starting 5 because, of course, Murray won't be there. You got the starting 5 of Jordan Poole and Trey Murphy. I think you start them at the guard positions. Okay, you start them at the guard positions. I think next thing you know, in the forward positions, you go with Zion and Herb. Don't never mind that Zion's got the bigger picture. Okay, it's just how the thing came out. All right. But you start with Yves Missy at center. You start there, have some defensive presence, and let him. There's been lots of reports of him being in his bag this summer, working on his game. So, and especially working on his offensive game. So, I think you could go ahead and start this season with Missy at the 5. All right, and then we go from there. All right, and then you could go from there because now you have a multitude of options on this position until Murray comes back. Because, again, Murray's not going to be there for opening night. So you have to take a look at some other options. Then you could go into your second unit, and you can have a second unit that is stacked up with Fears at the point, and then you have Hawkins as the scoring guard. Because I think, I'm sorry, the odd man out of this is going to be Jose Alvarado. I think Jose Alvarado might be on a trade move or I think he might be held as an asset of some sort. I don't know, but I don't see Jose Alvarado cracking the second lineup when you got Jordan Hawkins there with Fears. You team them up with Sadiq Bey and also Queen at the forwards, and then you go out there with Looney to sort of lead that unit because of his experience. So, again, you have a lot of options here if you're that Pelicans team. Plus, you still got a third unit that can be somewhat capable in some way, shape, or form, being led by Jose Alvarado. And maybe you get the PV kid in there. You also get Makovic in there. And then you can flex around however you want to play around with that. But you have options, especially at the guard positions, at the forward positions, at the wing. All your wings, you're wing heavy, so you might as well be flexible with that and make some of them play guard from some games and move around like that. Plus, you also got a 7-footer in the cut on a on a two-way deal sitting there in Birmingham in Dickinson. So listen, man. Again, the Pelicans need a rebounding bad. That's something that we have been lacking in for years. And again, I think you've also shored up the center position. So this is a good move by the Pelicans, man. The naysayers can say what they want. They can keep saying, I don't see how it works. I don't see how you can get these guys to work on the court together. Well, as you just saw and I explained to you how you can split those units up, you ain't got to worry about clashing. Everybody can go shine in their own separate way, in their own units. As long as everybody can buy in to that role of what they're going to be in those units. Okay? That's how you can make this work. I think one of the things that Joe Dumars said in his press conference the other day was that you will high IQ guys. And if you have a high IQ guy that understands how the team is supposed to flow and how the game is supposed to flow and how their role is supposed to be playing on the court, then you ain't got to worry about chemistry sometimes and all that other stuff because they're going to know exactly what they're supposed to be doing and they're going to do their job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kept hearing all this about how Jordan Poole and Fierce is going to play together. Well, as you just see, I split them up. Put Fierce on the second unit. Let Poole run the first unit, and then we'll go from there. And like I said, if Fears comes out in Summer League and shows you something more incredible than what you're expecting, then, hey, we'll see if we can make it work with Poole and see if we can make it work in other ways. But all I know is you have a plethora of options now with this Pelicans team. For real. And you also have picked up a quality signing for like $8 million a year. I think the Pelicans only had realistically $14 million to spend. So you still get him under budget. I know some of y'all wanted Clint Capella, but Clint Capella did not want to come here. He took less money and an extra year to go to Houston. So there's a bunch of other players I kept seeing in the comments and other names that was popping up. But I think, again, the reason why I called, and I called it in advance, the reason why I called the Kevon Looney signing was because you're getting a good value. You're getting good value. You didn't blow the bank on this guy. Like I said, plus he is not like a 35-year-old veteran. He's only 29. So he still has enough years in this league to still be able to teach Missy something, to be able to teach Queen something, and also be able to hold his own when it's crunch time. Because that's the other thing the Pelicans had issues with was issues of crunch time. So, again, I don't get this whole fussing about all this who's going to fit with what. I just showed you in this very video how you can split that lineup up and make sure everybody can still get their time to shine. So let's see if that. So now it's on Willie Green. I think at this point, it's on Willie Green because it's going to be on Willie to coach him up. Because if you, Joe Dumars is going in and restack the cupboard and also giving you 2 players with championship experience on your squad. So let's go ahead. So now you have the experience that a lot of y'all have been asking for. A lot of y'all been saying, let's go get some experienced players. Let's go get some experienced players. Okay, now you got some championship experienced players. And you got some guys that's been in the league for a while with some younger guys, and they're all still under 30. Most of the squad is still under the age of 30. So you still got a young squad you can still build towards, and hopefully it turns into something special. That's why you need to keep it locked in over to the Pelicans Digest, man. I hope you're excited about the signing, man. What is your thoughts on it? Do you like the Kevon Looney signing? Do you like it? Or what? Do you hate it? I'm quite sure you probably hate it because the national guys are telling you they hate it, man. No, I think it's a quality signing, and only time will tell how it will develop. And that's why we're going to keep you posted on the developments right here on Pelicans Digest. A whole bunch of y'all still watching, but ain't subscribed yet. Man, go ahead and subscribe yet, man, because we call the shots over here. And once again, thank you so much for rocking with us here on Pelicans Digest, man. I really do appreciate it. And make sure you keep it, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything that's going on. It's Melz. I'm out. Peace.